Archangel Michael says, a forgotten relative left $25 million for you. Don't tell anyone. If you don't open this message right now, you won't receive the money. Open this quickly. Archangel Michael says, my beloved child, listen closely. If you trust in God, type Amen. They didn't forget you. Heaven didn't forget you. Even when you felt abandoned. Even when your hands were empty and your heart was tired of waiting. Even when no one called, when no one checked in, when it felt like no one remembered your struggle, a voice in the unseen remembered. A whisper from a bloodline you don't even speak about often. A name you rarely hear, yet a soul who once knew your light before you even understood it. This was not an accident. This was written in a heavenly record, in a sealed document, in the ledger of legacy that stretches beyond paper and reaches into eternity. A forgotten relative, one whose steps once walked through places your feet haven't known, left something behind for you. Not for attention, not for recognition, but because their spirit saw yours from a distance and said, they are the one. They carry the light. Give it to them. And now, Archangel Michael stands beside the opening of a spiritual vault, his hands glowing with a scroll that is not made of ink, but of inheritance. What's on it is not just a number, it is a release. A release from struggle. A release from lack. A release from delay. The $25 million may look like money to the world, but in the spirit, it is justice. Restoration. Honor for what you endured quietly. Return for what was taken from your family line. Elevation that looks sudden, but was building in silence for years. And now, it has reached you. Not through chaos. Not through noise. But through divine alignment. Archangel Michael is not shouting, he is whispering. Because some messages are too sacred for volume. He says, you don't have to fight anymore. It's yours. But it comes with instruction, don't tell anyone yet. Because the treasure that's assigned to you isn't meant to be shared too soon. Not every heart around you is pure. Not every eye looking at you is celebrating you. That's why the message came in silence. That's why the door is opening quietly. Because when heaven blesses deeply, it does so in privacy. You are about to step into something only a few will understand. And that's okay. Let them wonder. Let them guess. Let them think you're just lucky. You'll know the truth. You'll know it was love. You'll know it was spiritual authority placing value on your head that no one else could. This is your moment. And it won't come again in the same form. That's why Archangel Michael is urging you, don't delay. Open it now. Because delay in the spirit realm isn't just waiting. It's risking the timing that was designed just for you. The name might not be on your lips, but it is etched in the walls of your ancestry. This relative, this forgotten soul, was never truly distant from your destiny. They once carried pain that matched yours. They once cried prayers that sounded like yours. And in a sacred hour of their final days, when no one else was listening, they whispered a request into heaven that would travel forward in time and land directly in your hands. Let what I couldn't receive be released to them. Let the cycle break with me, and the blessing begin through them. And heaven heard. The angels recorded. The law of divine inheritance was set in motion. And though their name faded from conversations, their intention didn't fade from eternity. Archangel Michael has been watching this promise closely. He's seen you on your hardest nights. He's watched the tears fall when you didn't know why things were so difficult, why your heart carried burdens you never chose. And now he stands not just as a guardian, but as a messenger. The scroll in his hand is open. The number is clear, $25 million. But to heaven, it's not wealth, it's repair. It's the divine correction of a broken lineage. It's compensation for pain passed down through silence. It's restoration for dreams that were crushed before they could breathe. And now, you have been chosen to carry what they couldn't. Not because you're lucky, but because you endured with grace. Because even when you had nothing, you gave love. Because you chose peace when revenge would have been easier. And heaven does not ignore souls like yours. You may not remember their voice, but their spirit has walked beside you for years. They've blocked accidents. They've softened the hearts of people in power without you knowing. They've spoken your name into sacred courts in the realm beyond sight. And when they saw that you were reaching the edge of strength, of belief, of hope, they stepped in fully. Not with noise. Not with lightning. But with favor. Favor that took the shape of a sealed inheritance. One you were never supposed to earn. One you were always meant to receive. And now, the gate has opened. Quietly. Beautifully. Right on time. But Archangel Michael says this moment must be handled with honor. With reverence. Because this is not just about money, it is about spiritual fulfillment. A contract between generations is being completed through you. And the $25 million is only the earthly expression of a heavenly agreement. This is why your spirit has felt strange lately. Like something was coming. Like something ancient was being stirred. Because it was. The moment your name aligned with the scroll, the atmosphere around you began to shift. Old energy broke. Generational debts were erased. Spiritual hindrances were removed. And now, your very presence carries a frequency that cannot be duplicated. You are not who you were even 1 week ago. And what's coming next will not be explained to others, it will be shown through you. Quietly. Radiantly. Undeniably. It starts slowly, softly. Not with an announcement, but with alignment. The way you wake up in the morning begins to feel different. There is a lightness around your chest that you haven't felt in years. You aren't rushing anymore. You aren't questioning everything with that old voice of panic. Instead, you start listening, quietly, to the silence that now feels sacred. Because something in the atmosphere around you has shifted. Your body knows it before your mind can understand it. Your breath slows. Your shoulders loosen. And for the first time in a long time, you feel safe. Not because everything outside is perfect, but because something deep within you knows, heaven has already made the next move. The divine inheritance has begun to touch your timeline. What was once blocked is now beginning to move. What once resisted you is now being drawn to you. Not because you changed your strategy, but because you've stepped into spiritual legality. The moment Archangel Michael opened that scroll, your name was written in light. Your destiny, once delayed by confusion and interference, was suddenly made clear in the records of the spirit realm. And now, everything that belongs to you begins to find its way home. That includes peace. That includes opportunities. That includes the right people. But most of all, that includes wealth. Not just financial, but spiritual, emotional, ancestral wealth. The $25 million is no longer a number far away. It is a vibration in your atmosphere. It is a confirmation of your value. It is a reward for carrying so much pain in silence and still choosing love. You'll begin to notice the difference when you speak. People who once ignored your presence will now lean in to listen. The doors that used to stay shut no matter how hard you knocked will begin to open before your hand reaches them. Random blessings will come without explanation. People you never expected to honor you will do so without you asking. Why? Because something ancient has shifted in your favor. The forgotten relative who left that inheritance, though gone from the earth, is very present in this moment. Their spirit is celebrating. Their prayer has become a promise. And their reward is your restoration. They gave it for you before they left this world. And now, heaven has delivered it at the perfect time, when your soul is finally strong enough to carry it without it carrying you away from who you really are. This isn't just about money. It's about meaning. You are becoming the completion of someone else's prayer. You are fulfilling what your bloodline couldn't finish. You are breaking the cycle, not just of poverty, but of shame, of smallness, of silence. You are the voice now. You are the healing. You are the chosen one to carry forward what should have never been left behind. That's why you're not afraid anymore. Because when heaven authorizes a release, no earthly system can stop it. And this release is already in motion. There is a moment in the heavens when your name is spoken out loud, not as a prayer, but as a declaration, not as a plea, but as a prophecy. Archangel Michael has whispered your name before kings in the unseen, but today, something even more intimate has occurred. Your name has been shown to a soul who has been waiting in stillness. A soul who carries a key. Not just any key, but one that unlocks the next chamber of this inheritance. Because divine gifts don't just fall into hands, they flow through relationships. And now, heaven has aligned you with someone who carries something you need. Someone whose spirit has been stirred. Someone whose heart was instructed in silence to search for you. They don't know why. They don't have all the details. But something about you has been placed in their dreams. Something about your voice, your energy, your eyes, it has been imprinted on them without effort. And this is not romance. This is not fantasy. This is divine coordination. A soul who will help you steward this blessing with wisdom. Someone who has been anointed to protect this $25 million transition with you. Because heaven doesn't just give wealth, it surrounds wealth with guardians. This person may be someone you've seen but never noticed. Or perhaps someone entirely new, carrying the same glow in their spirit that's now awakening in yours. They will not come with greed. They will come with grace. Michael revealed your name to them not with volume, but with vibration. Their soul has heard what your heart hasn't yet said. They won't need explanations, they'll feel the shift just like you do. And when they arrive, you'll recognize them. Not by face. Not by background. But by presence. They'll carry peace. The kind you can't fake. The kind you can't force. The kind that feels like home. And you'll know this is not just about inheritance, it's about alignment. It's about rising together. It's about protection. Because the $25 million was never meant to isolate you, it was meant to connect you with the ones who were assigned to protect your promise. And in this unfolding, you'll begin to understand something deeper. Heaven never just gives money, it gives mission. And the ones you are meant to walk with will not be drawn to the money, they will be drawn to your heart. They'll see beyond what you received, into why you received it. And they'll help you carry it, not as a burden, but as a blessing. Not as weight, but as purpose. These are the kind of people who only show up when heaven calls their name by showing them yours. At first, it feels quiet. The world doesn't know what just changed. But your spirit does. You can feel it in the way time stretches differently. You can hear it in the way people speak to you now, like they're not sure what shifted, but they know something did. You carry something sacred, and even those who don't understand it, respect it. They sense a distance, not because you've walked away, but because heaven has pulled you above. And with this new spiritual wealth surrounding your life, everything begins to move differently. Calls come from places you never applied. Emails from names you once admired. People who once ignored you now circle back with, "Let's talk." But your spirit isn't impressed, it's discerning. Because when you've been trusted with $25 million in divine currency, you learn to value silence more than noise. You don't chase anymore. You choose. And the choosing is holy. You start to see who was around you for your light, and who was around for your lack. Those who celebrated your struggle will not be able to celebrate your shine. And that's okay. This new version of you is not angry, just aligned. You are no longer reacting to loss. You are responding to purpose. The world may see the wealth and call it fortune, but heaven sees the posture and calls it faithfulness. This is your reward for not losing yourself in the waiting. This is the return on the investment of your surrender. And even though the money is now visible, the real inheritance is something more eternal: peace. You can walk into any room now and not shrink. You can say no without guilt. You can rest without explanation. Because you finally understand that what was given to you cannot be stolen, cannot be faked, and cannot be replicated. You were not just chosen to receive, you were chosen to reveal. To show what favor looks like when it rests on a humble heart. To show what wealth looks like in the hands of someone who doesn't serve it. You are no longer afraid of being seen. But you're also no longer chasing to be noticed. The light on you speaks louder than any introduction ever could. People will talk. They'll wonder. Some will say, "How did it happen?" Others will whisper, "They don't deserve it." But Archangel Michael says, "Don't answer them. Let the light answer for you." Because this is what happens when divine wealth meets divine timing. No one can explain it, and no one can erase it. And though many will see the $25,000,000,000, only a few will see the real treasure, you. This isn't just a blessing. It's a blueprint. The $25 million that was quietly released into your spiritual account carries more than luxury, it carries legacy. You were never just meant to receive this and disappear into comfort. You were chosen to build something eternal. Something that outlives money. Something that heals what money never could. Heaven didn't choose you for wealth, it chose you for wisdom. You were given the blessing not because you were loud, but because you were faithful. Not because you had power, but because you were pure. And now, Archangel Michael begins to unfold the deeper purpose behind the inheritance. It was never about you alone. It was always about the ones connected to you. The ones who would never have touched hope unless it flowed through your obedience. There are lives waiting in the shadows right now, unaware that their restoration is hidden inside your yes. There are children who will go to school because of your decision to give quietly. There are mothers who will sleep peacefully for the first time in years because you paid their rent in silence. There are broken hearts that will find laughter again because you chose to fund healing programs that no one else cared about. This is not generosity, it's justice. You have been given this inheritance because your heart knows how to carry both gold and God without letting one drown the other. Heaven trusts you. And that trust is the most sacred currency of all. You'll begin to feel it, not as pressure, but as a sacred pull. A stirring in your soul to create something that didn't exist before you. A whisper in the night to plant a seed where others only saw dry ground. A nudge in your spirit to speak into someone's darkness with more than words, with action. And you'll do it not to be seen, but because you now understand, this was the assignment. That forgotten relative didn't just leave you money, they left you mantle. A spiritual authority to break cycles of suffering with kindness. To rebuild broken places with quiet strength. To make invisible people feel visible again, not with spotlight, but with presence. You are not building platforms. You are building peace. This is why your name was chosen. Why your lineage was interrupted. Why your life feels like it's rising silently above what used to break you. Because you're not just carrying a bank balance, you're carrying balance. Between heaven and earth. Between past pain and future restoration. And you'll do it differently. With humility. With love. With silence when needed. And with boldness when called. This is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of your sacred assignment. And the ones who will be healed through your obedience? They may never know your name. But heaven will. And that is the only reward that can't be measured in millions. There comes a moment when even the most beautiful miracles stop feeling like surprises and start feeling like remembrance. As if your soul finally catches up to what heaven always knew about you. You are no longer looking around, wondering if you are worthy. You have stepped fully into a knowing that needs no approval. You are not waiting to be chosen, you have become the chosen. And this final layer of your becoming doesn't come with noise or applause. It arrives in silence. It rises from within. It glows from your skin, your eyes, your walk, your words. You are now a vessel. Not just for money. Not just for favor. But for movement, spiritual movement. God has shaped you into a living portal where brokenness meets healing, where lack meets abundance, where fear meets peace, where noise meets stillness. The $25 million was never the destination. It was the doorway. And you walked through it with reverence, not pride. With humility, not haste. And now the blessing no longer sits outside of you, it flows through you. You are the message now. You are the miracle now. You are the inheritance walking. Your presence carries restoration. Your silence commands respect. And your light, without explanation, changes atmospheres. You don't try to prove your glow anymore. You've realized that real power doesn't ask to be seen. It just is. Quiet. Sure. Sacred. Just like you. Archangel Michael watches you now, not with urgency, but with peace. Because the assignment has shifted. The scroll is no longer in his hand, it's in your soul. People will come to you, drawn not by status, but by spirit. They won't always understand it. They might not even know why they feel safe near you. But they'll return changed. Because what flows through you now isn't just energy. It's healing. It's clarity. It's divine presence. You've become the answer to someone's silent prayer. Not because you had all the answers, but because you stayed when it was hardest to stay. You listened when it would have been easier to fight. You gave when you had every reason to withhold. And heaven honors hearts like yours with more than wealth, it honors them with weight. The kind that cannot be copied. The kind that cannot be shaken.